Good morning, children. Welcome back to school after your winter vacation. Hope you have enjoyed the vacation. It was a long one, and hope you have done your projects also. I shall start collecting the projects on 25th, 26th, and 27th. These are the days of project collection. You have to display them. Do not mail me any project, please. Okay. I shall check the projects um, in the classroom. You know how to display your projects. Okay. So today I'm going to send you the video recording on the early Mughals. I have already sent you the videos previously, but today I'm going to teach you the chapter The Early Mughals. Only the Babur part of the chapter is there, the rest is excluded, that is, Sher Shah is excluded. Okay, let's begin the chapter. In this chapter, you will learn about Babur's invasion of India, the first Battle of Panipat and its significance, and Babur's battles against the Rajputs and Afghans. Okay, and what were the reasons for Babur's victory? Now, Babur's invasion in 1526 CE brought an end to the Delhi Sultanate, which had been declining gradually after the fall of the Tughlaq dynasty. Remember that we had done this uh, before your half yearly examination, the Muslim period. Okay, now Babur's invasion was in 1526 CE, and this invasion had brought an end to the Delhi Sultanate. The last ruler was Ibrahim Lodi, who was defeated by Babur. Okay, and finally he established the Mughal Empire in India. Now, when Babur invaded India, the Lodi sultans had direct control over Delhi and its neighboring areas only, and the remaining regions had long broken away from the Delhi Sultanate and had already declared their independence. Now, the political scenario in North India at this time was one of disunity and chaos, and Babur took advantage of the situation to gain a foothold in India to establish the Mughal rule. Now, the rulers of the Mughal dynasty were Babur, okay, who ruled from 1526 to 1530. Then Humayun, his son, succeeded him, followed by Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan, and Aurangzeb. Now let's talk about Babur. Zahiruddin Muhammad Babur was the first Mughal emperor and a descendant of Timur Lang and Genghis Khan. You all have heard about Genghis Khan and Timur Lang. Now, he was a descendant of these two great Mongol leaders, rather, not rulers, leaders. He ascended the throne of Farghana. Okay, Farghana was a small principality in Transoxiana in 1494 CE. Actually, Transoxiana is in Central Asia. Okay, and Babur ascended the throne of Farghana, which was a small part of this Transoxiana region, in 1494 CE, after the death of his father. Babur captured Samarkand at the age of 14 only. However, he was soon thrown out of Samarkand because of his young age. The tribals, especially another Mongol tribe called the Uzbeks, they took advantage and threw out Babur uh, of Samarkand and Fargana. Now he spent many years subsequently wandering homeless, and eventually he carved out a fresh territory for himself in Kabul in 1504 CE. After conquering Kabul, Babur turned his attention towards India. Now there were many reasons for his conquests in India. Number one, like the earlier invaders from Central Asia, I'm talking about the Mongols. And his own ancestor Timur had invaded India. You had studied about Timur the Lame in your previous chapters, like in the last chapter of the Delhi Sultanate. Now, Babur was attracted to India by its fabulous wealth. He needed money because the income from Kabul was very small and not sufficient enough to support his army and administration. Babur was also apprehensive of an Uzbek attack upon Kabul, and he considered India to be a very safe place to take refuge. The Uzbeks were very ferocious. They were continuously attacking. They had attacked Samarkand, they had attacked Fargana. Now, he knew that they would attack Kabul also. So, he considered India to be a very safe place to take refuge. And the final reason was the unstable political situation in India after Sikandar Lodi's death. And Babur had also received invitations from Daulat Khan Lodi, the governor of Punjab, and the uncle of Ibrahim Lodi also, to displace Ibrahim Lodi and um, to displace Ibrahim Lodi and help Daulat Khan Lodi to become the emperor of India. Now, this encouraged Babur to attack India. Babur was invited by Daulat Khan Lodi in 1524 CE to invade India and to overthrow the very unpopular ruler of India at that time, who was Sultan Ibrahim Lodi. Now, Babur used this opportunity to attack India, and he crossed the river Indus. He captured power in Punjab and returned to Kabul to regroup his forces for a further attack on India. Now, Daulat Khan had assumed that, like his ancestor Timur, Babur would also enter India, plunder the country, and return to Kabul. But Babur was not thinking the same as Daulat Khan Lodi. Babur invaded India and defeated Daulat Khan first. Then he marched towards Delhi. So Daulat Khan's calculations were completely wrong. So he was first defeated by Babur, who later marched towards Delhi. Babur and Ibrahim Lodi fought at the historic battleground of Panipat in 1526 CE. Ibrahim Lodi was the last sultan of the Delhi Sultanate. He was defeated by Babur in the first battle of Panipat in 1526. Now, what were the reasons of Babur's victory at Panipat? Babur had a very small army compared to uh, Ibrahim Lodi. Now, his small army was much more disciplined and very loyal compared to Ibrahim Lodi's forces. Babur also had better and improved firepower and artillery, which had not been used in warfare in India ever before. Babur was a brilliant military strategist and easily defeated the armies of Ibrahim Lodi. And the first battle of Panipat formally established the Mughal rule in India. However, it did not give Babur a virtual sovereignty over Hindustan. He still had to control, with other strong powers like like the Rajputs. He still had to defeat the Rajputs under Rana Sanga of Mewar, and also the chieftains in and around Delhi and Agra. So he had a lot to do before becoming the emperor of India. He had to contend with other strong powers, and the Rajputs were the strongest at that time. In 1527 CE, Babur overcame the Rajput opponents at the Battle of Khanwa. Khandwa is a small village situated to the west of Agra. Babur wrote in his autobiography that Rana Sanga's forces uh, exceeded 2 lakhs. But despite of having a smaller army, he was able to win the battle against Rana Sanga due to his superior cavalry, and of course Babur used cannons at that time, which the Indians, which were totally unknown to the Indians. After the victory at Kanwa, the center of Babur's empire shifted from Kabul to Hindustan. He was able to take control of the Delhi Agra region, and gradually conquered a chain of forts as Gwalior, Dholpur, and Alwar. There were plenty of forts here, and he conquered all the forts. In 1528 CE, Babur defeated the Rajputs who fought under the leadership of Medini Rai. Babur also captured the fort of Chanderi after a long siege, and the victories in these two battles at Khanwa and Chanderi meant that one of the most important obstacles in the path of Babur's conquest in India, that is the Rajputs, was neutralized. Then the other important opponents of Babur in eastern India were the Afghans. In 1529 CE, Babur succeeded in defeating the combined forces of the Afghans in the Battle of Ghagra. So, in this way, Babur became the ruler of Hindustan. Babur was a great writer. Let's talk about his character. He was a great writer. His autobiography, called the Tuzuki Baburi or Baburnama, gives an insight into the times in which he lived. This autobiography is written in Turkish language. Babur had given a detailed account and comparative observation in the habits and customs of the people and the geography of his own region and Hindustan. His autobiography contains detailed accounts of the flora and fauna of Hindustan, that is, the plant life and animal life of Hindustan. We learn much about the manners, the habits, and the occupations of the inhabitants of Hindustan of that period also. So, talking about his character as a conqueror and ruler, number one, Babur was a talented soldier, a great general who was capable of inspiring his men through persuasion and firmness. He had a small army compared to that of the Indian rulers, but he was victorious against them because of his superior military techniques, use of cannons, and his exceptional skill as a military leader. Then Babur had varied skills and interests. He was a keen observer of nature. He was a lover of nature, in fact. He introduced symmetrical, laid out gardens called charbags with flowing waters and fountains in India as well as in Kabul. Although he was a very devout Sunni Muslim, he was a Sunni Muslim. Okay, Babur was very tolerant of other religions and did not permit the ulemas to influence his political decisions as the earlier sultans had done. Babur was a learned person, very proficient in Persian, Arabic, and his native language Turkish. His writing skills are best exhibited in his uh, autobiography called the Tuzuki Baburi, which is one of the finest autobiographies ever written. By 1530 CE, he had control over Delhi, Punjab, and eastern India as far as Bihar. But continuous warfare did not give him much time to stabilize his empire. But he certainly laid the foundation of the great Mughal empire. And finally, after his death in 1530 CE, his eldest son, Humayun, succeeded his father. And the political situation during his succession was not stable, as Babur did not give him the time to consolidate his conquests in India. And the greatest obstacle in the path of Humayun was Sher Shah. So finally, the entire rule passed on to the hands of the into the hands of the Afghans. So I hope, children, you have understood the chapter Babur. The rest part of the chapter has been excluded. Thank you very much.